Have you ever tried to style your hair in a wash and go, and 2 hours later, your hair decides to do its own thing and nothing looks like you envisioned? Or maybe you're afraid of going natural because you absolutely have no idea how to make the transition conducive to your lifestyle. And then in the end, how to take care of it afterwards. Now, trust me, I have definitely been there. When I first started to grow my relaxer out to wear my hair natural, I wore cornrows back in 2002. And even though it was a conscientious decision, I wanted to make sure that the braids were not too tight because I did not want to suffer from traction alopecia. But it didn't take me long to discover that I am unfortunately more susceptible to traction alopecia, where my hair started to come out around the front of my hairline. So thank goodness that particular condition is reversible. And when it's caught early, you can grow your hair back. And so, unfortunately, when I found out that I was losing the hair around the front of my hairline, I found out that I could not use the low maintenance hairstyle that I wanted to accommodate my what I considered hectic lifestyle. And so I was the mother of two girls. And so I had two other heads of hair to take care of, and their hair was natural. I had a full time job. I had a commute that took over an hour both ways, and other responsibilities as a wife and mother. And the list goes on, which I'm sure most of you are used to. Now, I was fortunate. I had Deidre Keller, who is a friend and expert stylist, and she appreciated and encouraged natural hair wearing. And so she was able to guide me through a process to take care of my own hair. But I have found that others find it more difficult to find someone to help them through the process and really knowing what to do with their hair. But no worries, because I am here today with the Voices of Trichology, and they are here to walk you through styling options for your natural hair. My name is Dr. Crystal Porter. I'm a hair scientist and owner of Main Insights, a company that conducts research and focuses on the hair needs of people of African descent. This platform is designed to elevate the Black hair care industry and empower consumers and hair practitioners with education that talks about scientific research and matters that pertain to our unique hair needs and culture. I appreciate you joining us for the chat today. Now, before I get started and bring on the Voices of Trichology, let's see who is out there with me this morning. Let me know who you are and where you're watching from by putting it in the chat. Hi, Kimberly. Good to see you. And Vanessa, great to see you as well. If you are a practitioner, put the number one. If you are a consumer, put the number two. And if you are a researcher or a scientist such as myself, then you can put the number three. Also, please like and share this broadcast. Do not be stingy. Now, if you are frustrated with the lack of information available to you when it comes to caring for your hair, and you've wasted a lot of time, money, and resources in general trying to figure things out on your own, then you are definitely in the right place. And that is why we have created the Our Black Hair Matters movement. Now, if you haven't checked it out already, I have some useful resources on what I call my hair assets page. And you can find documents to find out about finding the right stylist, learning about the biggest mistakes that curlies make. I have hair themed children's books. And since it is Black History Month, there are some Black authors featured. And I have a template for you to write letters to companies who don't have data to back up their claims. And so if you're having problems, you can also schedule a complimentary consultation. And you can do that by going to links.maininsights.com/info. All right. And so before we move forward, let me get rid of that. And if you are joining us a little late, let me take a moment to reset. Welcome to the Our Black Hair Matters Lunchtime Chat. I am Dr. Crystal Porter, and it is the first Monday of the month where the Voices of Trichology come on the chat to share their expertise and experiences. So today's topic is You're Natural, Now What? And they are going to give you a brief hair care 101 course. And so I would love to welcome the ladies. So let me bring them on right now. All right. Welcome.
Hey.
Hey. All right. So we also have Vanessa and Kimberly join, but we have Tina on here. We have is that Dorinda? Oh, Denise. See, I need my glasses. Whew, it's getting bad. I can't play this off. But thank you so much for joining us. So what I wanted to do was actually give some background information about the Voices of Trichology so you can know a little bit more about them. First of all, I am going to go in order in which they are up. We have Marvelous Marvelette. She has over 30 years of experience backed with in-depth training, licensure, and certifications. Marvelette continued her education and training in the paramedical and science field, becoming a trichology healthcare practitioner and biomedical research assistant. Then we have Donisha Sullivan. She is a certified trichologist with over 18 years of service providing hair loss prevention and restoration for men and women who suffer from alopecia or hair loss. She is licensed in the states of Georgia and North Carolina as a master cosmetologist, currently owning a hair and scalp treatment center in Augusta, Georgia. She also provides non surgical hair replacement services. And then we have Dana Wilson. She is the CEO and director of Hair Cares Inc. She is a certified trichologist, Sister Locks educator and consultant, City certified research assistant, certified cold capper, veteran, and mother of a son on the autism spectrum. She has been a hair advocate for over 22 years. Her passion for hair ignited the very moment she started her very own Sister Locks journey in the year 2000. She specializes in supporting people who may suffer from hair loss and scalp disorders. She also coaches other natural hair care practitioners and locticians through regeneration and prevention. And then she operates through offering in-person and virtual trichology services, and she believes that every strand counts. All right. We have some powerhouses here. Awesome. So I would love for us to, get started. I feel that a lot of people struggle when it comes to different options for hair care styles. Whew, I have been through it myself, and it is funny. We were talking before we came on about the fact that I have my little Bantu knots, and but what is interesting is I find that some people don't like to wear Bantu knots out unless they're styled in a particular way. And I'm being bold because I want people to realize that even if you don't feel like taking them down, the fact that you have control over your hair and you can, wear it in this way. So I am representing those who feel maybe a little apprehensive about doing something a little different. So while there may be some people who are like, ooh, I like it, in another style, that's okay. Because depending upon your lifestyle, this may be, what you can do. So with that, I would love for you to share, I think we should start at the basics and give a definition of even what is natural hair to begin with. That's what I, initially started off saying. And then, what needs to be considered when we style it. So, Dana, you are a loctician, but you also help other natural hair practitioners. Can you just give a definition of what natural hair is?
Natural hair to me is hair that has not been altered by chemical processing. That is hair that is naturally coiled, your natural curl pattern that's coming out of your scalp. That is natural hair to me.
Awesome.
Mhm.
Anybody else want to add anything to that?
Nope, she hit the nail right on the head. But I do have something to add, but I'm gonna wait because there might be another question, so I don't want to jump ahead.
Okay, cool. How about you, Donisha?
I agree. It's hair that is not chemically processed. So I well, what I'm trying to say is a lot of times we have clients that'll come in that have natural hair, but it has been altered by either color or a hair treatment process that changes the texture. So I would not consider that as being quote unquote fully natural. That's natural with a that has been altered. So there is a difference in how we would maintain one service or the other for those types of hair types.
Okay. And so we've established what natural hair is. And so, Dana, you do particular styles for natural hair, or that is your expertise. Can you tell us a little bit about locks and maybe the advantages or disadvantages of wearing your hair in, well, I should say sister locks?
Yeah. So obviously I'm biased to sister locks, but I love all locks. The beauty about sister locks in particular is that obviously you're not changing the natural curl of the hair, and you're actually utilizing the natural curl pattern to then decide what kind of locking pattern or how the locks will actually look. And you're using minimum products to create the locks. You're not using any product at all, and to maintain them is very minimum amount of products that you would use on your hair. So that's the beauty about sister locks in particular. And you have the freedom to style your hair as if it was loose natural. So I'm not limited to what I can do. I was just sharing with the client today in particular that the only thing I probably haven't tried in my hair is finger waves. However, I have styled it in a way that would look like finger waves. I've even done a wrap as well on my locks. So I'm not limited at all on my styling options with this hair management system, because that's what it is. It is a natural hair management system. And that is for most any locks. It's a hair management system that you're not altering the curl pattern.
Awesome. Any other styles you want to highlight in terms of, what, and not you, Dana, just talking about, other types of styles that maybe Marvelette or you, Donisha, have been exposed to or have recommended based on the fact, the different situations.
It just depends on why they're natural. So I will make recommendations different from a person who is suffering from hair loss or different types of hair loss than I would from a person who just simply wants to be natural. So it just depends on the person and the situation.
Mm-hmm. And how
I
about you?
agree. I agree. And I think too, we have to consider manageability. So when considering the client and suggesting different natural styles, we want to think about manageability, their schedule. Some women don't have time to, manage or manipulate their hair every morning. So different styles like maybe two-strand twist, bantu knots. There are different styles that can be acquired that can manage the natural hair, keep it detangled, keep those ends protected, to help keep that moisture in so that when they take it down and move to another style, it's easier to maintain.
Yeah. I cannot tell you how I feel. Having a hairstyle that is conducive to people's lifestyle is extremely important. I
Yes.
feel that when I said I initially came out and wore my hair natural, I did cornrows because, I mean, basically you get it done every 2 weeks and then, you just wake up and keep it moving. But the second time I knew I could not have that as an option. And so it was really, really difficult to go through that awkward phase that people talk about, because as you're growing it out, sometimes it's not the length that you want it to be to accommodate particular styles. And so that awkward stage is where it's a little bit shorter and you don't know quite what to do with it. And you may not want to wear it into a fro. But I personally am anti fro for me. The reason why, not because I wouldn't rock a fro, I would love to rock a fro, but it's because my hair gets tangled. I have a tighter curl pattern.
Okay.
And even if the wind blows, that means that I'm going to be taking a lot of time to detangle. And then when you manipulate it more, then you increase the chance of breakage. And so that just doesn't work for me for that particular reason.
Okay.
But if I didn't have a problem with that, with it tangling so much, I would rock a fro. So I'm curious, have any of you experienced someone who has been wearing a fro and it started to break, or that they have breakage because of that style? Oh, so you're nodding, Donisha. Let's
As
hear
a
it.
matter of fact, as you were talking, I was just thinking, like, I had different clients that were popping up in my head, especially like young girls, and women, you know, just with natural hair in general.
Mhm.
Wearing a fro on a regular basis causes a lot of friction on the hair itself. So as you mentioned, like the wind, and then the friction on the pillow if they're not wearing a cap or a scarf, something to protect the ends. Because the hair is naturally curly or coily, it will intertwine within itself. And it's easier to dry out when it's in a fro state, which the fros are beautiful. But when we're talking about maintenance and hair care and manageability, the fro is really one of the last styles that I would suggest, because it kind of works against you. It's beautiful to wear out maybe for the day, but just know at night you will need to detangle it again, and then maybe do some big twist it back down so that you can refro it the next day. So there is some things that need to be done in order to maintain that style. However, um, long periods of time, I have seen breakage, split ends, the hair tangles, it breaks, and then even the detangling process, if it's not done properly, then that can cause breakage as well.
Thanks for sharing that. So that leads me to a question about, is there a particular natural hairstyle that is appropriate for hair type? Who wants to address that?
I do, because I was thinking about something when Donisha was speaking. The afro in particular is a great option depending on your curl pattern, because you do have curl patterns that don't really connect in a way where it's tangling up. And maybe even if you do it, that you have a shorter afro than you would a much longer or bigger afro. The other thing is that our natural hair tends to attract lint in a real way. I mean, it almost like the lint jumps off the shirt onto into the hair. So it really depends on the length of it. I think it plays a big part, and then the texture itself um, plays a big part on that, on deciding to do the afro. So and how do your hair behave? Is it the kind of hair that you actually have to put something on the end to actually have it hold and stay in place? So, for
Mhm.
example, if you're doing two-strand twist and you twist it, do you will it stay until you untwist it, or do you have the kind of hair that you actually have to have something hold it? That's going to kind of determine what kind of natural style you would also choose as well. So, how do your hair behave? Does it does the rain or the humidity impact it in a big way, right? If that's the case, we may not want to utilize the afro for that. So you really have to pay attention to how your natural hair behaves on deciding which natural hairstyle is best for you. And then, of course, we got the products. You got to
Mhm.
play with these products, because you'll see your girlfriend using something and her natural curl just is totally enhanced, and then you put it in there and it's caked up.
So interesting that you are talking about products because after I had tried to go natural the first time with cornrows, I ended up getting a relaxer again. And it wasn't until I saw Erica Douglas, who is sister scientist. She goes as sister scientist, but she's a formulator in the industry. And I saw her at an industry event, and she had just started growing her hair out natural. And one of the things that she told me was, oh, a lot of people find, it may be difficult, but what I have found, this is her speaking, is that it turns out it's product and what she say? Technique and product is what she said. Technique
Okay.
and product. And I would have to agree with her now that I'm doing the journey again. I think I've been like 5 years now that I've grown my hair out, but it really is true. And you, Dana, you were talking about the curl pattern. It's so funny. There are people who have a looser curl pattern than me, and they'll say, I've tried to wear my hair in that twist out that in the way that you do, and it just doesn't work. And I can definitely understand it because
Yes.
in the back and on the sides, I have two different curl patterns. And so when I twist it, the two curl patterns are twisting. And so it affects the twist and how it looks, no matter how much product I use. But also when I twist it out, the hair is behaving totally different. And so I just have to play it off and try to, make sure that it's kind of masked, but it is what it is.
Right.
So I think that plays a huge role. So have there been any experiences with products and the impact of the hairstyle? Who wants to talk about that? Marvelette, we haven't heard from you. And yes, I'm singling you out.
No, that's fine. Because I was, again, thinking as you were talking about a particular client I had whose hair would not receive products. Everything would just sit right on top. And we worked through that issue now, thank God. So it's much better. But yeah, products play a major role. And then you have to, again, know the type of hair that you have and what's too heavy, what's too light. Because sometimes you may need a heavier product. Sometimes you may need a lighter product. And everything is not water soluble. So it's going to cake up and it's going to stay there. You can't get it off. So it just, if you don't use the proper shampoos. So product is very important. And again, it's mainly trial and error.
Right.
And something else I tell people when they select the styles, when you see it on somebody else or you see a picture, I say cover the model's face and then look at the hair to see if you truly like it. Because sometimes it's the person that it's on. It's not even the hairstyle. So that's something I use across the board. But now nobody really looks in books. Everybody go online, but that's another option. But then keep in mind, again, your hair type, your hair density, your hair length, all those things play a role.
All right. So I want to address some of the comments and questions, and I'm going to have to put on my glasses because I ain't going to even, oh, that's so much better. I can see. All right. So never knew there was a live on this platform. Hello from Chicago. Awesome. So this is Dornice. And then put it in the chat. Vanessa, I think you're talking about the link that I shared. I will absolutely put it in the chat. Make this shareable later. Sora will share it to the LODD group. Okay, thank you. And you come up as Facebook user. So hey, Sora, I just don't know who you are. And then Margaret also comes up as Facebook user. Shared, love this. We'll catch the replay. Thank you for that. Chantel Branch. All right, thank you. And then I have 3 different curl patterns, says Vanessa. Oh my God, yeah, I can understand how that can be challenging. And then someone who is looking from YouTube says product selection is so tiresome. Yeah. From my experience, I initially limited my products to Black owned. However, I find that many products that are not marketed to us exceed my expectations. Man, so they exceed your expectation. That's awesome. And then Dr. Chandra says it always comes down to that product and technique. I even lean more towards technique, okay, how you use it and the frequency. Wow. And then Kimberly says products are confusing. Yeah, products are confusing. All right, so we had let's address some of what was stated. Let's talk about products that are Black owned. versus those that are not. Because iNaturalist says that she found that many products that are not marketed to us exceed expectations. Wow. What do you think about that? You guys have a whole lot more experience than I do with the plethora of products that are out there that Kimberly said, it's really confusing.
Okay, so I can speak from personal experience. I can honestly say I have liked products that were not marketed to us better on my hair than I did products that were marketed for us. And
Mm.
that's just my particular situation. I can't speak to everybody else, but I found I didn't like a lot of the products because they just didn't they didn't do what I needed it to do for my hair. So, and I won't say the name of the products that I did use that I really liked, but they did what I needed them to do. So
Mm.
I can relate to that.
Mm.
Donisha?
So for me, okay, in the salon, I utilize products that give me the result that I want. And well, in my trichology center as well, but in the salon there may be a shine or feel or flow, so I may use lighter products. I like to start with good shampoo and conditioners. That to me is the foundation, and then I build from there depending on the hair texture. In my trichology center I see predominantly more hair loss clients, so with that, I'm looking for the product to support the scalp care and the hair care. So there's a different type of product that I'm looking for in that sense. So again, I have to take in consideration the texture, the needs of the client, and also their styling request. So I won't say well, it's either or. I like to vet different products. I will try something new. I will see if it does what it's supposed to do. If it works well, I keep it. If it doesn't, I get rid of it. Um, and I give everything, a run, and my run is 3 to 6 months. It just depends on the type of product and what I need it to do. That'll determine if it's a keeper or not. But you will spend money and time trying to find good quality products. Things change so often. Our lifestyles change so often that I think vetting products is just an ongoing thing that we're just a part of when it comes to hair care.
Yeah. So let me ask about this. I haven't heard either of you uh, or any of you say that sometimes you have to like have this hair detox. You hear that a lot now. Let's just do a detox to the point where you don't do anything except cleanse it, and you may use a conditioner, but you don't leave or have leave-in products. And I've thought about that and I've experimented with it myself. So because I have a tighter curl pattern, I don't, especially when the humidity is lower, I don't necessarily need a holding product because the curl is going to keep the twist in my hair. And because it's more or less a wet set, meaning that the water hydrogen bonding is going to actually keep the hold and the texture or the pattern that I have put into my hair with the double stranded twist. I have experimented with that. And so while I think I do have more flyaways from my shorter hair that is combined with the longer strands, I really don't need a lot of products. So going to what Dr. Chandra said, when it comes to, she would even say it's more technique than product. I think that that is something that is worth discussing. And so there are a few people who I've seen who just don't believe in a whole lot of product usage. And I'm curious about what you guys think about that.
Less is more.
I agree with that, Marvelette. Less is more for me with the products.
Okay.
I agree. Less is more. However, when I think about the detoxing or the deep cleansing, when you think about that process, you're removing what's there. So if you have a lot of buildup, a lot of product that's already there, doing a good cleanse, deep cleanse, detox is good. But depending on your hair texture, you may need to go back and apply a leave-in conditioner to soften the hair, to put back some moisture, or to help with the detangling process. Because I have seen cases where you go in and take and deep cleanse it, and now the hair may be manageable in the bowl, but once it dries, there's
Right. Right.
a lot to deal with at that point. So I think it depends. I think it depends on the regimen of the individual. So, Dr. Porter, you have a very good regimen with your hair care. And so I could see how your hair would have a balance to it if you decided not to add more product. But in some cases, depending on the hair texture and what's been going on with their hair, it's going to need something to support it until it gets to a good balance.
Mhm.
Now that's very true, because everybody's hair is not the same. And
Mhm.
then too, when you add in additional products, I still think minimal as possible.
I agree.
But
I agree with that.
two, to keep the product away from the scalp best you can and concentrate
Okay.
more on the hair.
Right.
So that is also important, especially after doing the deep cleansing.
Mhm.
Because I have had situations where clients, after deep cleansing or just a regular cleansing, the product usage and the product getting on the scalp is what really gives them the irritation or different issues. So concentrate more on the hair and not the scalp.
That's a good point.
Hmm.
Mhm. I agree.
Now, speaking of that, so Donisha, you were talking about using different products for different hair types. So I have definitely experienced, and I'm not going to name products, but you and I are familiar with a particular product, and actually two products. One of them is one is strictly for scalp care, and
Mhm.
it's very, very drying to the hair strands. The other is also for scalp care, but it is, in my opinion, more conditioning, and
For the
it
hair.
does not dry out the hair strands as much, or doesn't end up making the hair strands feel so dry. And I think that's extremely important because for someone like me who has seborrheic dermatitis, I have to think more about the types of styles that I decide to use for my hair because I don't think I could ever do sister locks because of the seborrheic dermatitis. Now, this could be something that Dana may be able to like weigh in on
Mhm.
because I'm like, I can't imagine getting the flakes out of tiny locks. So, can you speak towards that? I mean, so is that just something that is implanted in my head, or is that a reality for some people?
Well, I mean, I have clients who have seborrheic dermatitis and they do okay with the locks. They just have to have a good a regimen that where they won't, the flake is not so much, or you're not doing anything to exacerbate the flare up. So I've had people that have seborrheic dermatitis and it works great for them because they do have uh, they can shampoo their hair and still look nice immediately. And they have to wash it a little bit more often. So it works just fine. That low maintenance works just fine for that condition.
Okay.
Hmm.
So is it okay to shampoo the hair like on a weekly basis
Oh,
if you
yeah,
are suffering? Okay, so
absolutely. Only if the locks, if you have baby locks, meaning they're very new locks, then you might have an issue because in the beginning you want to be very delicate. As shampooing with new locks are vital because it helps with the locking process. The hair is also more vulnerable as well because you're using water. So if once the locks are mature, you can do that every week. Absolutely, no problem.
okay.
Hmm.
So, so I see there are a couple more. I'm just gonna leave these on so I can just see. Uh,
They look good. They look good.
They
Thank
do.
So Vanessa says, I need help with some bald spots. I found, some bald spots you found and how to grow them back, please. So Vanessa, since you are here in the Chicagoland area, I don't know if you realize this, but Marvelette is in the Chicagoland area as well. And so definitely at the end, when we put her information up, and I know you wanted the information also in the chat, so I'll be sure to put the information in the chat as well. But yeah, hook up with Marvelette. She'll definitely be able to help you out. Then Kimberly says she has been told to try mousse to keep the hair intact. Is this kind of true? So anybody want to address mousse, the use of mousse and keeping the hair looking nice and neat?
It's a styling product. So it'll help manage flyaways and help seal the ends. So yeah, it could help.
It really depends on her curl pattern, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Mhm.
Okay, so if the curl pattern is tight, is there a problem, or is it loose? Is it a problem? So what do you mean by it depends?
So what is she trying to accomplish? Because I use a mousse for my hair, right? I use it when I do a setting. In fact, I have mousse in my hair right now as a setting agent for myself. So I'm using it to hold a curl. So she's using a mousse for it sounds like to lay things down. So it depends on your curl pattern and how that mousse is going to react for you. I'm not using the mousse to lay my hair down. It won't work for mine. And I have a medium curl pattern, not very tight, and it's not very loose at all. So it just, you really have to play with those, even the variations of mousses to see what it's going to do for your hair.
Okay, so Kimberly followed up and said she wants to do a wash and go. Don't we all? Wait, don't we all? I wish I could just wash and go. So let's talk about wash and go a little bit, because I'm not a YouTube watcher, but I have seen YouTube videos of people prepping their hair for a wash and go.
Mm-hmm.
And in my opinion, they are not washing and going. They are taking a lot of time separating their hair into small sections, combing it out, getting whatever product that they're using, saturated, and then they're doing other stuff. So it doesn't seem to be as simple. So let's talk about the wash and goes. What has been your experience, Marvelette, with wash and go, with all the different curl patterns?
It depends on the curl pattern. So wash and go does not mean wash and go. Very few people can technically wash and go. That means shampoo, get in the shower, shampoo your hair, and be gone. It takes time because, again, I know you don't like the term train your hair, but you have to train your hair to do what you want it to do using different products, and you have to add product. You have to add product, and there's a technique. Even if you're shampooing your hair and you wash and go, you got to comb it out a certain way. You got to scrunch it. You got to put so that's a technique. So it's not really a wash and go because you have to do things to get your hair to do what you want it to do. So that's just a term, but that's not exactly what it is, because you have to involve product and technique. So you're not literally washing and going. Some people, I'm going to stress that very few people do just wash and go, but no, that's not a real thing.
Can I just tell you, I used to work at what I'm aging myself. It used to be called the Chicago Health Club. Then it became Bally's. And then I don't even know if it exists anymore. But back when it was called the Chicago Health Club, I worked with someone who wore her hair. She had looser curl pattern, and she wore her hair very short. And it was so cute to me. And she did wash and go. And I said, if I ever had that curl pattern, that my hair would be just short. And I would be, in my opinion, I'd be all cute because I wouldn't have to take any time with it, and it would be cut into the style where all I would do is wash and go just like she did. But yeah, I understand what you're saying, Marvelette, because my wash and go, yeah, I don't even think my husband with short hair washes and goes. He doesn't wash and go. He has to take time with it, and it's short.
It's all about that curl pattern.
Yeah, you're right. So Kimberly, you say you want to do a wash and go. I get it, but we have to put things in context. Celeste says styling product, so she believes that the styling product makes a difference. And then iNaturalist says, how do you know if you need clarifying shampoo versus a chelating shampoo? Then she says she never introduced herself. She's Aisha from Canada. Thank you. Appreciate you joining. So what's the difference? How do you know if you need a clarifying shampoo or a chelating shampoo?
So
That's a perfect question for the scientists. Tell us, scientists, educate us in the community.
Well, you guys have practical experience, but all right.
Mhm.
So, a clarifying shampoo, of course, does exactly what the name says. It helps to get most of the residue out. And when I say most, sometimes when you use certain oils that penetrate inside the hair fiber, you can use as much clarifying shampoo. You can use dishwashing detergent that gets the grease out, and that the hair that will hold those oils, you cannot get that oil out. It takes a lot of time for that. So usually, if you have things on the surface of the hair fiber, then a clarifying shampoo is needed. Now, a chelating shampoo, that usually has to do with binding to different types of I don't want to say additives in the hair. For example, I think of chelating shampoo, and I think of it's a product that is used for swimmers. And so they say a chelating shampoo is supposed to bind to the chlorine. Now, I still have yet to see data over whether or not that really works, but that is the premise of it. And so it helps to bind to certain impurities that could be on the hair. So that is the difference between, well, that's the scientific difference between chelating and clarifying shampoos. Um, then Vanessa says she is looking for information for 3C to 4A curl. Now, what's interesting about her naming the curl pattern is there is a huge push against type casting the curl pattern in hair. And so while as a scientist, I think it's beneficial. And then I think I talked about that one of the past episodes, but she's talking about her curl pattern and it's important to her. So how important do you think the curl pattern is when having this conversation about natural styles?
Well, I think it's important because everything is based off your curl pattern. The products that you gonna use is based off your curl pattern. Um, the way you're applying it, how often you need to apply, it's all based off the curl pattern for me. So I think it's important that we have a description on the curl patterns.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
It is important because I didn't really agree with that at first. I agree with it a little more now, but everybody's descriptive of their curl pattern is not equal. So you may say you have 4C, somebody else may say they have 3A, and it's just our what we perceive the curl pattern to be may not match, if that makes sense.
You got that right. It's all perception. Is all perception. I have people still telling me it's no way that you have 4C hair. And it's not until people get into it, they're like, oh, now I see what you're talking about. But I think that's what you meant, Marvelette, when you said the training, because I wear my hair a particular way. I know how to deal with it. And so I can be deceiving, but yeah. I do have a tight curl pattern. So Kimberly followed up and said that the wash and go was a term, but basically she wanted to wear it curly, which I get that. Celeste says, yes, short, naturally curly hair can do the wash and go. Yeah. And then she also says, if the hair is heavy and you can feel it on your hair, a clarifying shampoo will work. Oh, okay. So when you say it like heavy, like weighed down with product, I believe that's what's being described. So that's true.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
Go back to the shampoos. A chelating shampoo to me is more stripping than a clarifying.
Okay.
You could tell a difference from one to the other. Like with a clarifying, it's a cleansing, and it takes off surface dirt. But I think a chelating shampoo, I don't know if I want to say it's more penetrating, but it's like a different cleaning. You could tell the difference between the two. It's almost like a chelating almost gives you a feel of a stripping.
Squeaky clean.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's stronger.
That's good to know. That's good to know. I know that different product formulations can leave your hair feeling different. Like, for example, it can say that it's a clarifying well, you got two different clarifying shampoos. One makes the hair feel one way, and the other clarifying shampoo can make it feel another way. So a lot of times it's brand or formulation based as well. Do you find that all shampoos that are labeled as like
Chelating.
chelating or clarifying or
I'm
even
gonna say
hydrating?
all the ones that I have used, I could tell a difference. Because even like you said with clarifying shampoo, some make your hair feel different than others. That's true. But chelating, it's different. You could tell a difference. Like it does something a little deeper because that hair, it feels like there's nothing there. Like it takes whatever off, and it makes the hair feel, I don't want to say real dry, but it is, because you got to put something back once you remove everything. That's where you go with your conditioners and your support products.
Okay. All right. And so Vanessa says she's following up about her curl pattern being 3C and 4A. I always wear it wash and go. I need to find more products or gels to help. Okay. And then we have Miss Dickens. Hello, chelating similar to neutralizing in her opinion. Is that accurate? Opinions?
So,
So,
who wants to go?
so I'll say, I'll just add this real quick. So there is a difference between a neutralizing shampoo and a chelating shampoo. They do different things. The neutralizing shampoo is to regulate the pH in the hair. The chelating shampoo, again, is to extract and cleanse. So those products do two totally different things. And they will be used at different times. You wouldn't use a neutralizing shampoo just to do a deep cleanse, and vice versa. You wouldn't use a chelating shampoo to neutralize the pH of the hair after using a chemical service. So that's what I would like to add to that.
Okay. Thank you for that. And then Celeste agrees that no, it's not the same. Cool. I'm so glad to see that we have some people on YouTube who are chiming in.
Cool.
That's awesome. All right. Before we wrap up, I want to just talk about what Marvelette considers to be commercial hair integration, which is commonly known as weaves and extensions. And so, is it a good option for someone who may suffer from a particular ailment? So, a lot of people say, yes, I'm giving my hair a rest while I'm growing it out natural. And so they incorporate commercial hair integration. So, what's your thought on that? Is that a good option?
It depends on the person and the situation.
Okay.
Just like cornrows were not a good option for you with your regular hair. So commercial hair integration is not a good option for everybody. It just depends on the person, the strength of your hair, what you're already susceptible to, and what you got going on. And sometimes they call protective styles, but if it's ripping your hair out from the root, it's not protecting anything. Or if you're not properly cleansing it while you're wearing the commercial hair, that's not protecting it because you're causing more problems. There's a number of things. The list goes on and on. So it just depends on the person and the practitioner and the state of your hair and scalp.
I agree with Marvelette on that, because if the protective style, whatever you're integrating in the hair, if it's weighty and you have issues already too, that's going to exacerbate the situation. So it is a case by case scenario on if you're going to be using commercial hair. And in regards to locking, when adding commercial hair into it, you may be impeding the locking process and slowing it down, because that your natural hair is trying to wrap around that commercial hair. And then when you take it out, it's starting out that process all over again. So
not only the weightiness, but the suffocation of the scalp or things sitting there. So again, the cleansing process is very important. That whatever regimen you do while you're wearing the commercial hair, you have to know how to properly cleanse it.
So is it? Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to add, so that goes back to the technique. Everybody can't utilize the same technique for the same type of circumstance. So depending on the type, if it's not hair loss, you don't want to cause hair loss. And if you have hair loss, you don't want to add to it. So technique is very important when adding extensions or hair textures and types.
Awesome. All right, then we have a comment that comes up as Facebook user. I wish I knew who you were, but you definitely know your chemistry. So chelating shampoo involves removing some ions. Generally, EDTA is used, and this was popular doing the thiol type product. Neutralizer shampoo brings the pH of the alkaline treatment to the hair's pH. Sometimes. But it's supposed to, but I'm getting in my mind too technical with it. But yes, that is an excellent explanation. So thank you for that. And I apologize, I can't address you by name since you come up as Facebook user. Celeste says the bad thing also is most don't shampoo while wearing protective styles. Yeah, that's an issue. Thank you for that.
It is.
All right. So I think we had a wonderful, wonderful conversation. I would love to wrap things up. And I would just like for us to give a summary of what we talked about. So what would consumers consider when deciding what natural hairstyles are best for them? How would you summarize it?
Texture. Go according to your texture and time, whatever your lifestyle is.
I absolutely agree with lifestyle. And then you also have to think about the cost associated with the frequency in which you need to recreate that style again. That's a huge factor.
Agreed.
And I agree. What is your end result? Is it is it just for a fashion? Is it to cover for hair loss? Is it to camouflage? So consider what your end goal and what your needs are as well would be important.
That's awesome. Thank you. Really appreciate that. All right. So even if we are not looking at the chat anymore, if you're looking at the replay, please feel free to add on at a later time. We definitely do look at the chats and comments later. And so Celeste says, I agree with all of you. Awesome. Thank you. All right. So I just wanted to remind people that I do have a replay of the webinar that I hosted about a month ago. And it was about the importance of scientific research for hair practitioners. So be sure to go on what I call my hair assets page and take a look at that. Let me pull that up. Let me get here. I really wish I could put these banners up. Oh, but it just dawned on me. I did not ask you guys how you could be reached. So let me pause and let us know how you can be reached.
So I can be reached at trichoscienceclinic.com. You can send me a direct message on there. You can email me or just simply chat with me.
Awesome. All right. And Dana?
You can reach me at haircaresinc.com or email me at info@haircaresinc.com.
Awesome. And Donisha?
I can be reached at thehbtc.com or info@thehbtc.com.
Awesome. And so I have your website up, but are they able to get your email from the website as well?
Yes. And the email is just the info@thehbtc.com.
Cool.
There's a T missing on the.
Oh, again?
It is.
Yeah, it is. It's supposed to be. Thank you for that.
The T really after the B. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. HBTC, Hair Beauty Treatment Center.
I will put that in the chat after we're done as well. So thank you.
Thanks, Marvelette.
Yes, thank you. All right. And so what I was going to say, now I will put up my link, links.maininsights.com. And this is how you would reach out to see all the different resources that you can have and the replay of the webinar that I had. So you can just sign up and see that replay. Also, I am always looking for hair practitioners who are using CBD-based products. Or if you're looking to find a trusted CBD product, then reach out to me. I would love to continue to do research on that. And then finally, I am always collecting hair samples. So if you or someone you know has natural hair and wants to cut it, I would love to have it for research purposes. So reach out and you can find information about that using that link. So thank you so much for everything. As always, take care and love your hair, and our Black hair always matters. All right. Bye-bye.
Later.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.